Well, welcome back to Three's In. I was talking to Rat earlier this morning. We chat on occasion. He called and we were talking about a couple personalities in the squadron during the time we both were there, the 560th, and Jim Bob's name came up. Now, Jim Bob was a young FAPE. He worked as a line IP for Rat, and then he came down to check section and worked for me for a little while. Quite a character, a lot of fun to have around, and actually a good pilot. So this one day, Jim Bob goes out on a check ride with this kid, and when they get to the airplane, they did their walk around, and after their walk around was complete, before they climbed up into the cockpit, Jim Bob takes his scarf off. We all wore these unique squadron scarves, depending on what squadron you're in, of course, under our flight suits. Some of us would wear them like this and just tuck them in. Others would cross them. It just matter of personal preference, if you will. So anyway, Jim takes off his scarf, and when he takes it off, he takes it and puts it on his forehead like this, and then secures it, kind of like what I envisioned the Japanese did during World War II. So he gets this thing tied up like that, and he turns and he looks at the student. The student's standing there with his mouth open and looking at Jim Bob like he was kind of nuts. Well, he was kind of half right. Anyway, so Jim Bob says, "What?" And the kid says, "What are you doing?" And he says, you ever had that occasion where you're flying along and you get sweat that comes down off your forehead and drips into your eyes? It stings like hell." And the kid says, "Yeah, it does." And so Jim Bob says, "Well, if you put a scarf on like this," he says, "it kind of absorbs that excess sweat and you don't have that stinging." Well, the kid thinks to himself, it kind of makes sense. So he takes his scarf, puts it over his forehead, and puts his helmet on and hops up into the rear cockpit. Well, Jim Bob gets up into the front cockpit, and when the kid can't quite see him, he reaches up and pulls the scarf off. We flew with these form-fit helmets, and if you had any anomaly at all inside that form-fit helmet, it created what we called hot spots, and those things were miserable. I mean, they actually got to a point where, they were hot, but they would hurt, and you would oftentimes have to take your helmet off and just kind of massage the area and hope you could bear it till you got back and got it adjusted. Well, Jim Bob's gig was to play this stunt on a kid and see how far he could get from the chocks to the takeoff position before the kid was crying for him to take the jet so he could take off that stupid scarf. Just another one of those little things that we did to keep life entertaining. Good to see everyone.